Hello, everyone. Back again. Back again for a part three. There's going to be a couple of reasons why I'm doing part three, but as soon as you guys get up in here, we're going to get started, and I'll tell you the whys. Do the introductions, those of you that are new to the channel that may have caught the stream late and just press play, and this is what you first start hearing. So we're going to wait about 2.5, 3 minutes, and we're going to get started. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Wait for everybody to get alerts. I did post it in the community, so hopefully you guys get it quickly. This is another video review. I'll put it in the title. I didn't the actual the link to the full video is in the community and in the details of this video. Okay. What's up, Dark Man? What's going on? Aaron, Steven? It's crazy, man. I just been people haven't been sending me this FHA stuff, and when you live outside the debt matrix and you see it for what it is, it's pretty amazing thing to see, watch. The conductor or conductors are just absolutely brilliant. It's just amazing, right? Oh, man. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. My name is LJ Young, and I am the founder of SMD. I'm a 100% debt-free motivational speaker and personal finance educator. I help people become financially free by helping them mathematically see outside what I call the debt matrix. And the debt matrix is a place where slaves live. Now, there's two kinds of slaves. There's unconscious slaves and there's conscious slaves. Unconscious slaves don't trust math, and they don't know they don't trust math, right? So, for example, believing you're a homeowner with a 30-year mortgage, that's if you put in the calculator your mortgage payment minus your mortgage balance and hit equal, the calculator will clearly tell you that you're not a homeowner. But since you don't believe the calculator, what you guys really can't see is negative numbers. You unconscious slaves really can't see negative numbers, but I'm trying to simplify it a little more. If you don't believe the calculator and you still believe you're a homeowner, you are what is called an unconscious slave. Now, conscious slaves came across the SMD channel somehow through somebody and did exactly what the name says, added up all their savings, added up all their debt, put it in the calculator, put savings minus debt equals how much money you have in real life. If that's in the negative, you don't own anything. That's all your money, you negative dollars. You don't own your house, your car, your furniture, you don't own nothing. You're making payments. Anything you're making payments on, you don't own it. That's why you're making payments, right? Now, conscious slaves realize that, believe the calculator, and now they're doing whatever it takes to get the hell out of debt quickly, working a whole bunch of hours, selling shits, even selling their house, everything, because they don't own it. Sell it all. That's what they're doing to become free. This was me. I was what you call in the debt matrix a high value man, 6-figure earner, college educated, body in shape, all the things that they dictate that's what that is. Even called an alpha male, even that. Yes, even that. But I was a slave alpha male. I was a slave high valued man. I was a slave because I didn't own anything in my life, nothing. One day I woke up, found Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey basically said, take the math that you learned in grade school and apply it to your finances, follow these baby steps, and then you're going to win with money. That's what I did, and now I'm free. Now, what I understand is once I paid off all my debt and got to zero, I didn't realize I was a slave until I got to zero, until I owed nobody on earth a dime, right? And I said, oh my God, I was a slave. Yes, you were a slave. Sure were. Didn't know that. Now that I'm out, this is what I do to help people feel the same way. I always thought debt was part of life. It's not. That's what everybody in the debt matrix believes. All right. So this is what I do. So now I live outside. So I took what Dave Ramsey showed me. Okay. I figured out it was just mathematics. And remember this statement. If it doesn't make mathematical sense, it cannot make financial sense. CENTS. Remember that statement, because that's going to be the first statement on my very first premier shirts. Okay. I said, so I stripped out the religion part that Dave Ramsey, because religion has nothing to do with mathematics. Absolutely nothing. Even the part to where he says, pay off your debt when you get down to your mortgage, start putting away 15% away from retirement. But according to the laws of mathematics, if you have a mortgage, you can't put away 15% of anything because you're still in the negative. Put in your mortgage payment minus your mortgage balance and hit equal. That's how much money you have to put away for retirement. That's how much money you have. Now you're gonna look. Now here's the glitch in the debt matrix. You're gonna look at that. You're gonna look at the calculator, and you're gonna have a hard trouble believing that is true. Even though it's showing you that it's true, you're gonna have a hard time believing that it's true. Why? Because some popular guy told you can do this. Well, I mean, you can if you want to. I'm just telling you, according to the laws of mathematics, you cannot. That's all I'm saying. Okay. So now that I'm out of the debt matrix, that's all I live by is the calculator. That's it. And anything outside the calculator is the debt matrix. You guys don't believe the debt matrix is real. Anything outside the calculator is the debt matrix. So for example, if you don't know how much debt you're in, and you know you're in debt, but you don't know how much, you live in the debt matrix. Now, every time, I want to make sure I stress something here. I don't really use bad words that much when I'm on my channel, but when I do, they are used for a purpose. Just like the word slave, every now and then a swear word will get your attention. I use those words in a different way. So when you hear me say a swear word inside of a statement, instead of just concentrating on the word, that the bad word, I want you to start thinking to yourself, why is he saying this swear word in this particular statement, in this particular sentence? Why is he using it here? This must be a very important statement. That's what it's used for. So what I mean by that is, if I say something, that means in this statement, something is said that doesn't make mathematical sense, but yet millions of people are doing it. Okay. So this is when you hear me say that, it's something that doesn't make mathematical sense. That's why I'm using. So let me give an example. If I said 1 + 1 = 2, I'm going to simplify it as basic as possible. Okay. If I said to you 1 + 1 = 2, and you turned around and told me, no, it doesn't, I would say, yes, it does. And if you don't believe it, that's your fucking problem. So you get it? You get it? Because if something makes no mathematical sense and the person's telling you that they don't even believe, that's when I throw in a swear word so you can understand what that means. That person doesn't believe in mathematics. So it's an absolute waste of time even talking to them. What's up, Muhammad? We say the bank is lending you a loan with a killer, very high interest rate. You are happy, take the money, buy a car, buy a house, make a project, and what you did because of high interest. Let me see. So what we're going to do today, like I said, we're going to do a review today. Now, the reason why I'm doing a review with this particular guy, because he looks like he's very good at what he does. And when I say what he does, teaching you about FHA mortgages and what you should do, what you can't do. Now, this review is nothing on. He looks like he's very good at what he does. You can see the whole setup and everything, right? I'm not knocking what he's doing. FHA telling people, suggesting that FHA mortgages are good, that is a business. Okay. And he looks like he's very good at this business. Also, I want you guys to make sure you understand that the last 2 reviews were done by black channel owners, right? Now, he is white. I'm doing this to make sure you understand that I don't want you mixing up color, because debt is the colorblind slave master. It doesn't care what color you are, okay? I don't care. I don't care who's selling you FHA mortgages. I'm not attacking anybody's character. I don't care what they're selling you. So what? If you believe what they're just telling you the guidelines of FHA rules, and they're probably really good at it. I personally don't care, because FHA mortgages are for slaves. FHA mortgages are only for people that don't know. FHA mortgages are for people that will absolutely refuse to accept that they cannot buy a house with student loan debt. You guys absolutely refuse. There's only one way to buy a house, only one. That's cash. There is no other way to buy a house. There is no other way. Stop looking, stop asking your friends. There is no other way to buy a house than cash. Anything outside of that is called financing. Okay? Now, subprime FHA mortgages are subprime mortgages. Again, they're for people that don't understand, that will not accept, don't understand money, will not accept they can't buy a house with student loan debt. You can't buy a house with student loan debt. You have no money. Now, let me open up this video so we can get it started here. And again, I want you guys to make sure you understand something. This is not a knock on this guy at all, who he is, what he said. I'm not saying he's doing anything illegal. I'm not saying he's doing anything bad or evil or nothing. Sounds like his business. And he looks like he's very good at his business. And that's a 100% true answer, because I want you guys to understand something, that do understand. When you live outside the debt matrix, people like him and all the other people that promote FHA mortgages, they are important. Because the housing market could not exist without you, slaves. I promise you that. If they denied every single person that had student loan, if you got a mortgage, if you got student loan debt, you can't get a mortgage. The housing market would not exist, because it could not exist. And again, I don't fucking care if you believe me or not. I don't care. I'm just telling you what is. All right, so let's get to this. Which one is it? Is it that one? I hope so. Okay, cool. All right, so we're going to get started. And this is what I'm going to do, okay? As we watch this video, I'm going to point out things. This is my whole goal to this video. I'm going to point out things that do not make mathematical sense. Okay. Now, before we get started, if you have a Credit Karma account, if you have a some kind of online credit report account, I want you to log in there before we even get started. If you catch this video late, go in there. There's going to be a large number, not your credit score. It's going to be a 5, 6, or hell, even 7-digit number. Okay. I want you to grab that number, write it down on a piece of paper, and then put a negative in front of it. That is your DTI, your debt to income ratio, whatever fancy name they put on it. That's the money you have for a house. That's the money you have for a down payment. That's the money you have for closing costs. That's whatever you think, whatever they say in this video, that's the money you have for whatever they're going to sell you. Okay, that's your DTI. That's your 5% rate, and this is 0.5%, half of everything. That's all in there. That's what you're concerned with, that large negative number. All right, let's get started.
FHA loans, a fantastic option for not just first-time homebuyers, for really anybody who's looking to buy a home, who wants a low down payment option and a lot of flexible credit options. So if you have credit that's even all the way down to a 500 credit score, you could go FHA. So in this video, we're going to talk about so many facets of FHA. There's going to be a little scroll bar along the bottom here, so you can fast forward to different sections if you want to find just the information that you're looking for. But you're going to learn a ton about FHA loans, so you can make the right choice with lender that money back. Okay, so it doesn't possible moving forward and help you win the house that you love. So let's talk about an overview here with the FHA loans. So FHA loans are insured and backed by HUD. Now, what do we mean by insured? This is only insured for lenders. So basically what it's saying is HUD is going to come in and they're going to insure the loan. That way, if somebody defaults on a loan or goes into foreclosure, they're going to give the lender that money back. Okay, so it doesn't do anything to protect you.
So what you guys need to understand is that since slaves don't understand how mortgages work, you guys, they make special mortgages, subprime mortgages, FHA mortgages for you. And everything is backed up by you. The bank still gives the money, but if you guys fuck up and don't pay your house payment, or you lose your job or whatever, the million things that will happen to you because you have signed up for an FHA mortgages, and FHA mortgages are for slaves. Slaves that believe they can buy a house while having student loan debt. You can't do that, but you believe you can. So when you guys default, the bank is still guaranteed their money, because you guys, with all the fees, private mortgage insurance premiums, all that stuff, you guys pay for the losses.
But since lenders have less risk, they can pass on some cost savings to you. And that means the loans can be a little bit more risky. What that means is they'll lend on a lot more difficult loans that maybe a conventional loan.
They will now lend to you because they got a guarantee. If they default, they still get paid. That's why the credit score is lower. That's why they're cutting the percentage rates in half and all this stuff. You guys guarantee the loans. They don't lose. They make money while you pay, and if you don't pay, they still make money.
Wouldn't allow. Okay, so they can be a lot more flexible than other types of loan programs because they are insured. And FHA was started as a means to help people who couldn't qualify for conventional. Conventional typically started out, at least, being around 43% debt to income ratio and needing 20.
When the bank denies you for a conventional mortgage, they're doing you a fucking favor. When they deny you the traditional conventional mortgage, they say you're not qualified for this, they're telling you you're not ready for a house. But it's not their job to teach you the laws of mathematics. If you don't want to believe it, that's your fucking problem. So they invented subprime mortgages for you. Now they use nice words like, oh, people that have harder time, lower credit scores, all this stuff that means you, slave.
Percent down. Most people couldn't fit in that box. So that's why FHA was created. Now, this is not just for first-time buyers. This really is for anyone who wants an FHA loan.
This loan is for anyone that has no money. Anybody that have no money, this loan is specifically designed for you, slaves. You guys just absolutely, you ain't even got 3.5%. The only way to buy a house is pay for 100% of the house. You don't even have 3.5%. You got to borrow some from your friends and your family members. That means you have no money.
There are construction loans available. We're not going to cover that in here, but it's a very standard, the qualifications to get a construction loan, to purchase land and build a home. As with,
I'm going to fast forward through some of it.
Home, not be a long-term loan. Okay, so low would be on the 500 range, mid would be mid 600. Talk about the cost.
If you guys want to watch the whole video, you guys can. So let me skip through some of it.
Okay, so let's talk once evidence of ongoing work or current work in.
This is a good part.
It says the minimum credit score of 6. Okay, so let's talk about some COVID changes that have happened here with FHA. So one of the biggest changes that I've seen with COVID is that lenders have put on an overlay, and not all lenders, but most lenders have put on an overlay that says the minimum credit score is 640. And I even see people making videos saying, yeah, the new minimum score for FHA is 640. That's not true at all. It still goes down to a 500 credit score. It's just that
they're going down to a 500 credit scores because they have to, slaves. All you got to do is look at the news. How many people are unemployed? How many people are out of work? How many people are on unemployment? People have lost their jobs, companies closed. They know you have no money, slaves. If they didn't lower it to 500, you wouldn't get shit. That's why they're lowering it. And if you're liking that they're lowering the credit score, because you're a slave, that's why. You have 500, 600 credit score. That's what you have. So they're talking to you.
Some lenders are choosing not to do that. With COVID, actually, most lenders are choosing not to do 640. Also, if you're self-employed, FHA wants evidence of ongoing work or current work in your organization. So they want some sort of proof that you're going to continue seeing income coming in with COVID.
Go out, make up some shit, just show something, do a couple of trips of Uber or something just to show that you did something so they can get your ass deeper in debt. So say, for example, you have $100,000 in student loan debt and you're going to buy a $300,000 house. You don't know that you're closer to zero with only $100,000 worth of debt, but you want $400,000 in debt. And you have $100,000 in debt today. You go and finance a $300,000 house. Now you're $400,000 in debt and you think you're a homeowner.
And also, this is an overlay here.
All right. We already talked about the overlays.
You're allowed to use collateralized loans. So something like a 401k loan or a home equity loan.
They allow you slaves to not only get an FHA mortgage, they allow you to pull your money out of your retirement, to get a loan against your retirement, to get an FHA mortgage. They allow you to pull the money out of all the things that you believe is real. None of it. You just go deeper in debt to get in the house. So they know you don't have any money for the down payment. That's why they allow you to go into your retirement, slaves. Borrowing from your future to pay for your present. You don't even know what you're doing, but you guys go ahead and borrow it, and you put the money down on the house, and you have the whole time you have no money. That's why you got to go into your retirement for a down payment, because you have student loan debt, slaves. That's why you can't buy a house with student loan debt. So they're making adjustments for you, slave. That's why these new guidelines are here. Okay.
To be able to qualify for the down payment and closing costs here. However, you can't use unsecured loans, right? I can't use a credit card.
Of course not, slaves. They're not going to the bank is not going to let you use their own money to put a down payment on their house. Okay, first of all, you can't buy a house with student loan debt. So the bank is putting 100% of the money down because you have no money. They're not going to let you put money down using their money. They own the credit cards. Hell no, you can't do that. That's stupid. You think they're going to let you give them their own money as a down payment? No. They're going to let you pull it from your retirement, borrow from your cousins and friends, all the money outside of them, slaves.
That's not something I can't just go use a credit card for my down payment or closing costs. That's not allowed. I can't.
Of course not. Of course not.
Down payment or closing costs.
Of course not. That's the bank's money.
Use a family member loan.
You sure can.
That can be.
I told you can borrow some from your friends and family, though.
They're secured or unsecured, meaning they can either have claims to the property or no claims to the property with that type of loan from a family member. Also, we could get a gift from a family member to go towards our closing costs or down payment if we need some help there. There are also local down payment assistance programs and national down payment assistance programs where you're going to get help to pay for your down payment or some of your closing.
If you need help, remember, the only way to buy a house is have 100% of the cash. If you don't have, the minimum is 3.5%. If you need help, if you have to borrow the down payment, which is 3.5% of the house, you are a slave. They're going to take all the money they're going to get from you, and you're important. You guys can't see what's really happening. That's your fucking problem. I'm not saying this guy is good at what he does. I don't know if he believes. Now, put it this way. In order for me to know what he's doing this business for, I would have to see his personal credit report. His personal credit report will tell me if he's doing it for business or if he really believes in what he's doing. He's doing it for business either way. I'm just saying his personal credit report will tell me if he believes in what he's doing or he's doing it strictly for business. Because if he's doing it for business, his credit report is going to look like mine. Now, I'm just saying, me personally, I couldn't do the business he's doing. I personally could not do that. Because if you saw me talking about it, you'd be like, what the fuck is LJ talking about? What are you pushing this for? I don't get it.
Costs. The issue here is that they can be costly. I rarely have ever seen a down payment assistance program that is more beneficial for a buyer than if they fund the loan themselves.
If they see you walking in whatever lending establishment looking for a loan for a down payment on a house, they are about to financially abuse you. That's what they're going to do. They obviously know you got student loans, obviously, because you slaves are going to be asking specific questions. What if my student loans are in IBR? What if my student loan payment I haven't been paying? As soon as you mention student loans, they got you right there. That's why you're here. Why? Because student loans. They know if you're looking for this program, listen, if you're looking for this program and you're putting your student loans in IBR, income-based replacement program, whatever the bullshit they make up, you're saying to them is that I have no plans on ever paying back my student loan debt ever. And when you're saying that, you know what you're also saying that you don't know what you're saying? I don't ever plan on paying this house off ever, ever. Why? Because I haven't paid off my student loan debt. How am I going to? You are the only ones that do not know that.
Paying their own down payment, their own closing costs on to find loans or lenders who will go down to a 500. But so credit requirements and down payment go hand in hand with the FHA. So it goes all the way down to a 500 credit score, which is crazy because it's hard.
When you go down, you see how they go down to a 500 credit score? You know why they're doing that? Because you're a bad slave. You are a very bad slave if you got a 500 credit score. That's why they require more down, because you're higher risk. The chances of you, first of all, you're never paying the house off. They're only worried about how long do they think they're going to have you in that house before they have to kick your ass out of it. So they're going to get all the money they can right up front, because you don't know, you can't buy a house with student loan debt and a 500 credit score. You don't know that. So they're about to financially abuse you. But if you have a 580, which is really no different, it's just numbers on a screen just to make you feel better. If you have a 500 and you have a 580 and you feel better about the dude, better than the dude in the 500, that's your fucking problem.
To find loans or lenders who will go down to a 500, but FHA does. And if you're struggling to find a lender who's not going down to 500 with FHA, you want to shop around to find a lender that will help you out there.
You're going to find one, I promise you.
Up to a 579, you're going to need to put 10% down. Okay. And if you have a 580 plus, then you can do 3.5% down. All right. Now, FHA is one of the most lenient types of major loans. If we're talking about conventional FHA, USDA, VA, then you can build your credit. So, credit events here. So, FHA loans are more forgiving on revolving and installment lates. Okay, they normally let you.
I'm going to skip over this part because you guys won't understand any of what he's talking about here. You guys, you don't even trust me. I promise you. If you're in debt and you don't believe you're ever going to pay off your student loan debt, don't worry about any of the stuff he's paying. It has nothing saying you don't understand any of it.
It's within the past 12 months on revolving accounts and normally one installment late.
What you guys don't know is just stuff that Federal Housing Administration just made up and put it in there and say, hey, you do this and do that, and you can't do this, and this is what we're going to do. Just stupid stuff.
Within the past 12 months. Ideally, you would have none, but FHA can be a little bit more lenient here. Also, as far as like non-medical collections, greater than $2,000 total. Again, this is non-medical. You either need to have one of these three remedies.
The reason why they put non-medical, because the majority of you slaves have high medical debt. Very high medical debt. A lot of you guys have it. You guys just don't know. You can go see a lawyer and get rid of it. But that's why they're not including that, because if they included that, you guys wouldn't qualify. Do you understand? You guys have a lot of it.
Either a payment plan, it needs to be paid off, or 5% of the.
And when you probably heard him say non-medical debt, you guys probably breathe a sigh of relief, like, oh, good thing they don't look at that. Oh my God. Of course not, because you guys have millions of dollars of it, millions, probably trillions of dollars in medical debt. If they included that, you guys couldn't qualify. If they don't get you guys to be able to qualify, the housing market couldn't exist without you.
The balance is going to be calculated in your debt to income ratio, and this is going to shrink how much you can qualify for with a new home. So here's some waiting periods that you might need to wait for. So if you've had a deed in lieu, a foreclosure, a short sale, you need to wait 3 years from the deed transfer of those events. If you had a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, you'll need to wait 2 years from the discharge. And if you've had a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, you need 12 months of on-time payments and court approval to be able to get into an FHA loan. Now, rates with FHA actually are really low. Okay, and this can kind of trip people up because they think, why in the world is FHA having such a lower rate? And it tends to actually have
the reason why they have a lower rate because they charge you guys up the ass in fees. You guys don't even know it. I promise you, if you're signing up for an FHA mortgage, you have no. Okay, let me just say a couple of things. If you're signing up for an FHA mortgage, you're not coming to the table with a lawyer. You're not. Why? Because you can't fucking afford one. So you have no idea what's in the paperwork. So you're just going to walk up and sign whatever stack of paperwork they put in your fucking face. You're going to sign it. Sign here, initial here, sign here, initial here, sign here, initial here, sign. You having no time to read anything, and you wouldn't be able to understand it even if you did. Why? Because you're sitting there asking for an FHA mortgage. Of course, the rates look lower. I know the interest rates. Yeah, the bank can't fuck with them. They're not even trying to. They're helping them. The banks are going through them. Do you understand? Guaranteed money. That's guaranteed money for the bank. Guaranteed. You don't pay, they get paid. Period.
have lower rates than conventional. We'll talk about a chart comparison here later
Very low risk for them. Very low. Slim to none.
on in this video. But the reason why there's lower rates is because it's backed by the government. Now, what offsets these low rates
Backed by you slaves.
is high mortgage insurance costs, and we'll talk about that here in just a bit. So rates are similar to USDA and FHA. Brokers are going to tend to have better rates on FHA loans. And the reason why is because legally they can't take a difference in the risk-based pricing and pocket it themselves like someone.
We're going to skip over that bullshit.
Give you money towards your closing costs. It gives us so much leniency and flexibility with you need it. Now, mortgage insurance. Mortgage insurance is one of the most costly things about FHA. It is one of the biggest downsides. Like FHA gives us so much leniency and flexibility with how we set up this loan and who can qualify for it.
Of course.
The big downside, the way that we pay for it is through mortgage insurance.
Correct.
And mortgage insurance is what funds.
He keeps saying we, so I'm assuming he has one or he's just pretending to be like one of you guys. I'm not sure yet. Like, again, I don't know unless I see his personal credit report. His personal credit report will tell me everything I need to know about him. Okay. Now, you guys probably heard of private mortgage insurance, PMI, okay? The majority of you slaves were starting to get hip to private mortgage insurance. Oh yeah, girl, that ain't for you. That's for the bank. You slaves were starting to get hip. So this is what they did, okay? They took the P in PMI and they moved it to the end of it. Now they call it MIP, mortgage insurance premiums. So now if somebody comes up and asks you, hey, man, do you got PMI? You're going to say, no, I don't got no PMI. Yeah, you do. It's called MIP now, though. Same thing. They just moved the P from the front to the back, and now they just changed it. Now you guys are throwing up. Now it's going to take you at least 50 to 60 years to figure out what MIP is. That's how they do it, slaves.
FHA's ability to insure this loan for the lender. So FHA has two types of mortgage insurance. Number one, there's an upfront mortgage insurance, okay? And this is 1.75% of the loan amount. It's not paid up front, but it's going to...
Oh, I forgot. You guys got two of them. You guys got more than just one. I forgot. You got one up front and through the life of the entire fucking loan.
Be wrapped back into your loan. So if we were purchasing, if we had a $300,000 loan here, we're going to actually call this a loan and not a house. $300,000 loan.
Thank you.
The mortgage insurance cost up front would be $5,250. So instead of taking out a $300,000 loan, we're actually taking out a $305,250.
Yes, you are.
All right. And then also we have a mortgage insurance premium.
Yes, you do.
This is similar to conventional's PMI.
No, it's not.
Insurance on conventional. It's
not even close.
Thing on FHA, except they call it a mortgage insurance premium.
No, it's not.
85%. So that would actually be $216 per month on a $300,000 loan.
Ooh.
So FHA can have pretty intense mortgage insurance here.
Because you slaves.
Also, mortgage insurance.
Because you slaves are high risk. They're about to get all the money they can off you slaves that don't know you can't buy a house while having student loans. You can't do it. So they're taking financial advantage of you slaves.
It doesn't change based on the buyer. On a conventional loan, The higher your credit score, the less risky your loan is, the lower your mortgage insurance. On FHA, it does not matter if you have a 500 credit score or an 800 credit score. Your mortgage insurance is always going to be.
Let me tell you something. I really like this guy. He is like crystal clear, to the point. Looks like he's done this FHA bullshit research. He done did it all crystal clear to suck you slaves right in. He is important. He is a very anybody. If I come across the slaves, and just I know it's gonna sound weird, right? But the more slaves start looking into the FHA, what is this? What is that? I'm gonna send them his page. I'm going to send the link. I'm like, you look for FHA information? Yeah, go check this dude out. I'm going to share his page. We need people like him.
Be the exact same cost here with both of these types of mortgage insurance. Also, your mortgage insurance will not fall off at 20% equity. No matter how much you put down, they do not go off of equity if your mortgage insurance falls off. In fact, it's going to stay on for the entire life of the.
You hear that, slaves? You can't even buy your way out, slaves. You can't even buy your way out of it. It's the entire length of the loan. You're never getting out of that, especially you got student loan debt. Listen, you are the only one that don't know that. They're going to charge your ass the entire time you're in the house, already knowing that you're never going to finance your way out of it. You're never going to refi. You think you're going to, hey, listen. You think if you be in you get an FHA mortgage, right? With student loan debt, and then when you be in here for a few years, you think you're going to refinance out into a better loan? No, you're not. You still have student loan debt, slaves, and the student loan debt is going to be even larger. Say like you get in a house 15 years, and you still ain't paying shit on your student loan debt. Do you know how much your student loan debt is going to be 15 years from now? You think you're going to get a better mortgage? You think the bank is going to give you a better mortgage knowing that you've had student loan debt older than your fucking children? They're going to laugh at you. They're going to be like, hell no, you can't. FHA mortgage for life, baby.
Loan. Unless you put 10% down, then it's going to fall off after year 11. So this is why FHA is not a good long-term loan option, but it can be a really great short.
It ain't no good option, period. Long-term options, it's really good for a shit. No, it's not. It's not good for any option. Options for slaves.
Short-term option. And FHA actually works really, really well for people with low to mid credit scores to purchase a home, work on their credit, and then refinance into Kinman.
What he just described is slaves. Low to mid credit score. They just make it sound nice. They're talking to you, slaves.
I'll talk about that strategy here in just a bit. So property requirements. This has to be a primary residence for a minimum of 1 year. You need to live in the home for a year, and then you can decide if you want to rent it.
They got to make sure they suck you dry in the first year because you probably won't have it too much longer after that. So they're going to suck your ass dry the first year. So you're required to stay in it, slave. Let's see what else they got.
Now, obviously, you can sell anytime you want. You can go purchase the home and sell 2 weeks later. That's no problem at all. But you need to live in there for a year if you're going to choose to rent it out and not sell it. House hacking is allowed. This is really common with FHA loans. House hacking is basically a way of using primary residence loans to try to generate some sort of rental income from them. So a good example with house hacking would be, you can purchase up to 2 to 4 units. So you live in 1 unit and rent out the.
They tell you that same house hacking story to all you slaves believe it too. You guys believe, oh man, this one thing is called house hacking. No, it's not. It's not hacking anything. You can't buy anything with student loan debt. Okay, let's just make sure you're clear. You can't buy anything when you have student loan debt. So if you take a house and rent the other side, you're not making a profit. The bank owns the building, the house, the fourplex, the duplex. You don't own shit. You're just a manager that pays to manage the property. That's it. House hacking. That sounds fancy. It's not.
The other units. Okay, that's still primary residence because you live in it, but you're getting rental income from the other units. Another example is I purchased the home, 3.5% down. I live in there for a year, and then I rent out the property and I go purchase another home. All right, so I still have the FHA loan that still stays on there, where I have the lower interest rate. I didn't have to put a huge down payment for an investment property,
right.
But I now have rental income after a year. So 75% rental.
Let me hear that again. That's funny shit right there.
Another home. All right, so I I still have the FHA loan that
Whoa, what you say you're doing?
So a good example with house hacking would be, you can purchase up to 2 to 4 units.
Yeah.
So you live in one unit
Okay.
and rent out the other units.
Okay.
That's still primary residence because you live in it.
Right.
You're getting rental income from the other units.
Another
example is I purchased the home 3.5% down. I live in there for a year.
Gotcha.
And then I rent out the property and I go purchase another home.
Oh, with another loan.
I still have the FHA loan that still stays on there.
Yes, you do.
Where I had the lower interest rate. I didn't have to put a huge down payment.
No, because you got the money.
But I now have rental income after a year of living.
So he's okay. So this is what he's telling you to do. Get one FHA mortgage, right? That only for slaves. Again, subprime mortgages for slaves. Get one subprime mortgage. All right, live in there for a year, move out of it, go get you another FHA mortgage. Now you have two mortgages. So with two mortgages, let's say each property was $300,000. Now you're $600,000 in debt. $600,000, and you think because you put a person in your first property, you think you're making a profit? You ain't making profit of nothing. You're $600,000 in debt. With two subprime mortgages, you're not even close to making any profit. Why? Because you didn't even have any money to buy the property in the first place. Why? Because you have student loan debt, slaves.
Living in the home. So 75% of rental income is considered to go to offset your mortgage payment. Okay, and that's if you have other homes or if you're renting out other units. Something that can be really tricky with FHA loans is if you're looking at a condo, it has to be on a FHA condo approved list.
Let's get out of there.
And good chance FHA only. I know home FHA doesn't let a loan. So square feet, and if we purchase this with an FHA loan, okay, so loan limits. FHA does have loan limits, meaning you can't purchase a home with FHA above that limit. Now there is a link to the.
Now look how deep they'll let you slaves go into debt. That is absolutely bananas. You can get in a low cost area. Oh, God, they will let you guys completely bury yourselves. You can't buy nothing with student loan debt. Look how deep they are willing to let you go. Because listen, they know you're going to max it out just like you do your credit cards. They give you a certain limit. So say like they give you a $5,000 limit on your credit card. You slaves max it out. So if they approve you for a $400,000 house, what you going to go $400,000 approved? What you going to go get? A $400,000 house. That's what you're going to get, slaves. You're going to max it out. They know you're going to max it out, slaves. They know you're going to do it, but you are the only ones that don't know. You can never, if you can't pay off your student loan debt, you're not going to pay off a house. You're not.
Look up in the description. You'll put, so we have to do a little bit of math to reverse it and figure out what our math.
See how they throw the math in there? You know why they throw math in there? Because you don't trust math. Why? Because you think you can buy a house with student loan debt.
Purchase prices, then with 3.5% down.
Oh God, let me just fast forward to this. Let me see.
FHA is mainly worried about what they call health and safety, and they kind of can take the huge ones. I see.
More fluff. Okay, let me just get past.
Right. So employment. FHA wants. So
okay, I'm gonna let you guys watch most of this. All right, that's enough for me. That's enough. I can't take it no more. You know what? Again, the reason why I'm doing this video, because I don't want you guys thinking it has something to do with color, because I did a couple of people, they were black. You think I'm picking on black people? I want you, I like this guy because he's white. He looks like he understands what he's doing. He looks like he does his research when it comes to mortgages and all the bullshit, whatever, right? Whatever. It looks like he's really good at what he does. I want you guys to understand it has nothing to do with your color, where you live, what college you went to, and got nothing to do with any of that. They're lowering just like I told you yesterday, they're lowering everything to get you slaves to buy, to stop the housing market crash. It's working. Look, open the news, look, watch the TV. Everybody's in a frenzy. All the slaves. All you gotta do is find out how many of those people in the frenzy are paying cash for houses. That's all you gotta do. Hey man, you hear your friends, you hear your people at work. If you, especially if you're young and you listen to this, don't be jealous. If you're at work and so just bought a house and you're like, oh my God, I feel so jealous. And they're turning to you talking about, oh man, you're wasting money on rent. You can come see my broker. All you got to do is say is this: did you buy that house in cash? No. Don't be don't be jealous because you saw somebody sign up for a $3, $4, $500,000 worth of debt. Do not be jealous over slaves ever. If they want to believe that they bought a house with a mortgage, you let them fucking believe it. People with mortgages that believe they're homeowners, that is a very, very important piece to the housing market. That is very important. You got to understand this. When they use the word bought with a mortgage, that's important for them to say things like that. That's important. I just bought a house. You got a mortgage? Oh, okay. Well, they don't know that they just told you everything you need to know about their finances when they say shit like that. You bought a house? Yeah. What kind of mortgage you got? I don't know. What kind of mortgage you get? FHA? Oh, okay. All right. You can't say anything because it's important. It's a frenzy right now. When I'm on social media and I hear somebody ask about an FHA mortgage, guess what? I'm gonna send them. I'm gonna send them that dude's channel because it ain't nothing personal. I don't care what he's selling. I don't care what he's selling to slaves. I don't care. I just want you guys to see how many people are you going to how many all you got to do is type in the YouTube search FHA guidelines. Watch how many people pop up telling you how great it is. How wonderful this is. More opportunity for people. They're going to tie it to black people. They're going to tie it to Juneteenth. They're going to tie it all to whatever you guys are going to make you feel good about it. That's business, baby. That's business. Ain't nothing personal. They ain't tricking nobody. You're choosing not to know. If they're selling you FHA mortgages while you have student loan debt, you are choosing it. You. Anybody's doing it. They're not bad people. They're not evil people. They're not lying to you. They're not doing they're not telling you the mathematical truth. But that's business. If they told everybody mathematical truth, business wouldn't work. Like, let me give you another example. If you go to like Apple's website, right? And you look at the brand new, you price out the brand new iPhone 12 Pro, whatever the highest Mac or the if you believe, and it says the phone is say like it's 1600. If you believe it costs Apple $1,600 to make that phone, that's your fucking problem. It didn't cost Apple to make $1,600 to make that phone, but if you want to pay that, you can. Not only are you slaves paying it, you're financing phones. You slaves are financing phones. I guarantee you this. If you finance the brand new phone, the latest phone, whatever, because I don't want to make sure I ain't picking on Apple. It doesn't matter who's selling you the phone. If you financed it, I guarantee you have an FHA mortgage. Guaranteed. If you're making car payments, guarantee you have an FHA mortgage. Guaranteed. Now, it's not 100%, of course. Some of you slaves are smarter than the other slaves. You guys are not all on the same level of smartness when it comes to, but you guys are just all in debt. You guys just don't know you're all enslaved. You're all slaves. Is this you? Has somebody come up to you? Has somebody come up to you recently and said, "Hey, stop throwing away your money on rent. Hey, you're wasting money. You don't know what you're doing. You better hurry up and get on this. The houses are running out." If that's them, you ask them, "Do you got student loan debt?" If they say yes, I want you to understand something. Don't listen to them. They're slaves. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know you can't buy a house with student loan debt and or a mortgage. You can't do that. Somebody coming up to your friends, they saying that to you. You better hurry up. They're running out of houses. They're trying to build these houses like these packed in houses. They'll clear out a lot and put 50 houses on it, and they're stacked next to each other. Who do you think those houses are for? Who do you think they're if you had put it this way, if you had millions of dollars, would you buy a house in a complex like that where a whole bunch of like you go in there, there's a whole bunch of houses, they're stacked next to each other, barely room for two cars, barely, right? And you got a homeowner association over you telling you what you got to pay for too, telling what you can and cannot do on a house that you think you own. The reason why they're doing that because you don't own it. If you had millions of dollars, would you live in a place like that? Of course not. Of course not. If you do an aerial view over an apartment complex and one of those housing complexes, you couldn't tell them apart. You'd be like, which one's the apartment complex and which one's the housing complex? You can't tell. The only way to probably give you a hint would be the cars parked outside the buildings. But other than that, if there were no cars outside the building, you'd be like, which one's the apartment complex? You see how fast they're putting them up? Now this kind of explains the housing boom. I mean, down here in South Carolina, they're putting up them housing complexes like fuck. I just like one day I drive by, every tree is cleared. Next day I drive by, there was a whole complex sitting in there. Somebody knew somebody knew the FHA mortgage guidelines was going to change. Somebody knew it, but it's not really rocket science. The FHA guidelines, listen, they had to do it, slaves. They had to do it. It's not really a choice. They had to do it. Because if they left the guidelines the way they were, you wouldn't qualify. That means all of you slaves will be out of the market. That cannot happen. All of you slaves would wake up. Wait a minute, I can't buy a house because of what? These student loans. Damn. Wait a minute. Because if you stop and thought about, hey, if I got rid of the student loans, you don't know to ask this question. If I got rid of the student loans, would I qualify for a mortgage? They probably say, yeah. They probably say yeah, but since they already know in your mind, you don't believe you'll ever pay off the student loans. This all runs through your head. Oh, it would take me years. Man, that much student loan debt, that would take me at least 10 years to pay it off. I will never be able to get a house. Blah blah. All this shit runs through your head. They already know you're thinking like that because you're a slave. So they have to lower the percentage rate so you slaves have out. Look how excited. Just go through the YouTube channels. Look how excited everybody is that they get a chance to go deeper in debt. There's all the slaves are so excited. Ooh, oh my God, thank the Lord. Juneteenth, and they for what? To go in debt? To go deeper in debt. Congratulations. Okay, whatever, slaves. Whatever, slaves. Blue collar lifestyle. LJ does get it. Getting enslaved is cheap. Duh. Oh man. I know. I remember I used to watch MTV Cribs all the time. Right. I remember. Now that I think about it, back on when MTV Cribs was on TV, you don't know that slaves don't know to ask that question because you got to remember Slaves believe mortgage payments are just a part of life. So if they see a rich person with a nice house and they say they have a mortgage, they know that the mortgage that they're paying is more than theirs because they're making more money. So they're like, oh man, they can afford that big mortgage. See, right? So they don't really understand that as long as they got a mortgage, they don't really understand that those two are the same. Who cares what the amount of mortgage is? They have a mortgage. That's all that matters. Same in Charleston, a new subdivision is built. A whole new set of slaves come down and scoop them up quick. Next time, this is what I want you guys to understand, so you guys can see. Next time you see one of them housing complexes going up, you know how they put up about 5, 10 houses before they start spreading all over, and then next thing you know, about as soon as they start on the second, somebody's already in on the first person in there. They so happy. Ooh, they so happy. It's crazy. If you young, just getting out there in the working world, man, don't fall under this pressure. I don't care what your friends are doing. Don't follow them. And I know, because they like to do this. They go out, get a house, then they like to get a matching new car. Then they want to do all new everything in the house, new washer and dryer, new this, new that. They want to fix it because they want to show off to other slaves like they got money. In reality, they're living they believe that they're living the American dream, which they are. They don't really understand that that's true. They are living the American dream because they own nothing, especially an FHA mortgage with student loan debt. You own nothing and you never will as long as you have student loan debt. So put it this way, especially you young people, I want you to understand this. If you know somebody that looks like they have a successful business, because you can't, I mean, you don't know because you don't know their bank accounts. You don't know. You just see them driving nice cars. They live in a nice area. They're always going on vacation. They got nice clothes. Ask that person, you got student loan debt? If they say yes to you, it's okay. You can ask them because slaves don't know why you're asking that question. Why? Because they believe everybody has student loan debt, which is not true. If they tell you yes, everything you're seeing is a mathematical illusion. They own nothing. Why? Because you can't own anything when you have student loan debt. You can't own nothing. You have to be asleep. What's up, Cupcakes? Gabriel, Sal's, Blockchain. Is that you? Slaves trying to make you feel bad. Stop throwing away money on rent. They try to make you feel bad. Slaves don't know they're renting from the bank. People with mortgages are renting from the bank. They just don't know they are. Slaves, they don't know they are. They don't know it. A slave with an FHA mortgage will believe, check this out, a slave with student loan debt with a subprime FHA mortgage will really tell you that they got equity in a house. They had absolutely no money at all to buy a house, and they will believe they own the equity in a house that they didn't even have the money to buy. That is fucked up and brilliant at the exact same time. Absolutely brilliant. You watch these subdivisions get filled, they're going to get filled the fuck up. With this new lowering the bar, it's almost like imagine a bowl full of water with a dip front end, like a cake bowl, but with a pour spout. and it's filled up, and then you take your finger and just start dipping it over. Like imagine the slaves are in the bucket, right? In the bowl, right? And then you take your finger at the spout part of the bowl, and then you just tip it, which is lowering the bar. So and then the slaves are the water, and then they start pouring in, right? Then they're gonna. That's why they give them to like August 16th, right? So they're gonna imagine the bowl. They're gonna hold the bowl down with their finger till August 16th. That should be enough to get enough slaves to spill in and to prevent the housing market crash. And then they're gonna lift it back up. That's how they do it, slaves. Yep, Sal's. A lot of these celebrities are renting houses and cars. They just own the clothes that are on the back. Yeah, a lot of them live like this. People don't really understand that. With mortgage, you're losing a lot more money than renting. You sure are tearing a hole in your pockets, and it can be time-consuming repairs. Meanwhile, they keep leasing cars. Well, the majority of what people don't really understand that the majority of people that lease cars, they're caught in the loop. They have to keep leasing or financing cars because they're upside down. If they were to try to get out of the car they're in, they'd probably be so upside down in the car they couldn't get out of it. So they keep rolling negative equity. And honestly, I don't know how that's even legal. I have no idea how that's legal. That's just that's fucked up. They will let you roll negative equity from one car into a new car loan. I don't even know if there's a limit. So say like this, you finance a car for 84 months because if you're doing this, you're most likely financing the car for the longest term you can get, right? Say like you finance a car and the car is 30,000, but you're bringing in a car, you're upside down in the car in 10,000. So they're going to take the 10,000 upside down equity and add it to your car loan, which is 40,000, and then you're going to finance $40,000 at an interest rate. Oh, and they be looking at blue book value of the car that they're in. That doesn't apply to you when you're $10,000 already underwater before you even drive off the lot. Don't worry about what the value of the car is in blue book value. It's only the value of the car. Listen, so you guys so you unconscious slaves understand something. The value of a car counts on who owns it. Not what Kelly Blue Book says. You. If you're $10,000, if you're rolling negative $10,000 into a car loan before even driving off the car lot at an interest rate, you are so far upside down that don't worry about what Kelly Blue Book says. What you think you're going to sell it? Who are you going to sell it to? Somebody buying cash knows how much the car is worth, and you trying to sell a car worth $30,000 for $40,000? Nobody's going to do that. Okay. Oh man. That's almost the same thing like when you refinance a house and pay off debt, you're rolling negative equity into your loan. That's what you're doing. Like say like you because the banks own the credit cards and the houses that you're in. If you have a mortgage, they own the house and the credit cards. So you refinance the house, get another loan to pay off credit card debt. So you're rolling negative equity into your new mortgage. It's just, oh my God, it's horrible. God, this shit is hilarious, man. Oh, it's just hilarious. I just told my nephew from his 20s about this channel 3 months ago, and he loves it. He knows how his parents he know now his parents are slaves. Thank you. I appreciate that. He just got to keep it to himself. That's all. He can't let his parents know he knows. Just a second, I gotta text something real quick here. There we go. Just in case you don't know. All right. Man, I can just 1 second. And when I think about when we're talking about FHA mortgages, that's not even including all your other debt. Because if you have a FHA mortgage, which if you think you can buy a house with student loan debt and FHA mortgage, guarantee you have other debt. You have credit card debt, you have car payments, you have furniture payments, you have washer and dryer payments. Your whole life is monthly payments, guaranteed. And then they come up with this imaginary debt to income ratio, DTI. You're like, oh, they're going to tell me how much I can spend of my own money. They're going to tell me an outside entity is going to is going to tell you how much you can spend with your money. You know what your DTI is? Log into your online credit report. There's going to be a large 5-digit, 6-digit, or even 7-digit number. I want you to see that number and put a negative in front of it. That is your fucking DTI. That right there. That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know. That's your DTI. Every time, if you're thinking about buying a house this year because the housing market's hot, I want you to log into your bank account and see if your bank account agrees with you. Okay, you log in and say, log in to see. Okay, the house is 300,000. Okay, say like the house is 300,000. Log into your bank account and see if you got 300,000 in there. If you don't got 300,000 in there, it doesn't matter what the housing market's doing. That none of your business. If it's hot, cold, lukewarm, it doesn't matter. You got 300,000. So who cares what it's doing? So what? LJ, I'm 90% slave. I still rent an apartment. No, you're 10% slave, not 90%. Be like this than being a student loan and housing debt. No, you're 10% slave, not 90% slave. And I say rent because I'm that too. I still rent. I say like that. I put that more like 1% slave. Okay, you rent. That's it. That's about 1% because you're aware of it too. But you got to also remember when you're not in debt, rent is not really that expensive when you don't have debt. Rent is really not that bad. Like you can live when you got no debt, you can afford some rent. You can afford to rent in some really nice places because you don't have debt. Why? Because you got to remember, slaves have a combination of shit. They got a whole bunch of payments. They're paying interest on everything. They're probably late a lot, late fees, and they're paying taxes. Everybody pays taxes, but I'm just saying taxes on top of all the other stuff they're paying. Rent seems very expensive to them because they're paying everything else. But what they don't realize, you got no debt. Rent is really not that expensive. Let's, hey Gabriel, just say I still got some slave blood running through my veins, and that's just because I rent. That's it. That's it. I'm down to the one thing I wish somebody would have told me to get rid of when I was in my 20s. Hey LJ, yeah, the first thing you need to get rid of is rent and or mortgage out of your life. How do you do that? Buy your place. How am I going to do that? I don't know. You got to get out there and work. What's up, Drug Hours? Drug Hours says, LJ, I don't know if you answered my question from last live, but how can I buy a car cash from someone, especially a trusted website? Uh, right now, slaves are on a frenzy. Okay, they're selling everything. They're in trouble. All right, so you just look at marketplace. A lot of online car places. Make sure it's from a personal owner. Personal owner. Okay, and then you call them up. You always ask the number one question: why are you selling? You want to hear their slaves if they got a good slave story, and and uh, uh, and you got cash, you're gonna get it for way less than what they're asking because of course, they looked up the blue book value of the car and they're gonna think they're gonna get every penny of it, but they're desperate. So you look up and say, "Why are you selling?" Listen for this. Now, if you come across a person that says, "Oh, I'm just tired of it. I don't, it's just sitting out there. I don't really have time to." That's a person that probably knows something because they're not really giving you a slave story, right? But the slave story, I'm divorced, this and that, job loss, whatever. It doesn't matter. That's what you do, and make sure you have the cash. It is weird that I don't aspire to get into a mortgage anytime soon. Honestly, Dark Man, I would be too afraid to get into a mortgage. I just couldn't. I could not sign on the dotted line and say, "Hey, man, I don't care if it's 15 years, 10 years. I promise the next 10 years of this amount of money to you." I just can't do that. I just can't do it. Yeah, there's a whole bunch. There's a whole bunch of places that you can do it. They're everywhere. I mean, just look. The main concern, if you're debt free and you got the cash, the first thing you determine what type of car you want. Okay, whatever that is, if you got the money, just look for it. Don't worry about Kelly Blue Book because that doesn't concern you if you have cash. Okay, all you're gonna do is look for the car you want. Then you start calling the people that have the car you want. You listen. You ask the question, why are you selling? If it's a slave store, you're gonna have them because you're gonna know that if you come with them with cash, because the majority of people, even personal owners, they got to go through a loan process. They got to see if their bank is going to approve them to get a personal, to get a loan, to get a car. They got, if you got cash, they get to skip over all that process. The bank is not even involved. Yeah, when people say, and this is another thing for you guys listening in the background, I want you guys, the next time a person says this to you, hey man, you know you're throwing away your money on rent. This is what I want you to turn to them and say, where can I live for free? Okay, the next time somebody says some stupid shit like that to you, say, okay, I'll stop renting if you can tell me where I can live for free. Because if you're paying rent and you enjoy where you live, you like where you live, that's why you're paying rent to enjoy. There is no place to live for free. So you're not throwing away your money on rent. You got shelter, you got heat, you got a place to keep your food and clothes. That's what you're paying for. You know, it's not being thrown away. Are you making the landlord rich? I don't know what I'm making the landlord. I have no idea. I've never seen my landlord's bank accounts. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing for him. All I know is I'm paying him a fee and he's providing me shelter. Period. I need to find it, but I swear I saw someone selling their truck for 60,000 that they literally just bought. I know. People that finance a vehicle right now and realize they made a mistake, they really believe that they're going to sell it for, especially you got to remember, the majority of slaves are rolling negative equity into a brand new vehicle. They're rolling the negative equity into it. And they really believe they're going to sell it for what they owe on it. They're not. Absolutely bananas. When I hear these new guidelines, like for some, it was weird, and I understand now why. But the majority of you slaves, you probably don't know. You probably logged into your credit report and saw that your student loans were not showing up on there, like they just vanished. Like where are my student loans? All three credit reports, they just vanished, right? And you guys, I'm sure the majority of you guys crossing your fingers, hoping that they're never going to come back. They're coming back, slaves. And I guarantee you the majority of them are probably showing up right about now, because if you have to prove something to the FHA guidelines that you're making a dollar payment or some kind of low IBR payment on your student loans, you got to show it, right? That means that means either you guys, oh, this is brilliant. Oh. So basically, if the majority of you guys have been running from your student loan payments and you want a house now, you decide, oh, okay, I want a house. Now you have to reach out to them because you have to prove, their guidelines force you to prove that you're paying whatever, $0, $5. Now you got to reach out to them. Reaching out to them means that now you have to let them know where you are, where you work. Oh, that's absolutely brilliant. I just thought of that. Wow, wow. Wow. God damn. Hey man, this is hands down brilliant. If you guys want the house that bad, you're going to let them know where you're at, where you work, where you live. Oh, wow. Mm, mm, mm. Absolutely, hands down. Then they're gonna pop back on your credit report. Oh my god. Because they know your social security number is tied to your credit report. Regardless of what you do, they're gonna put it back on your credit report because it's tied to your social security number. And if you want a house, you have to let them know where you're at and start paying, slaves. Mm. Check and mate. Oof. Mm. Financial prison till you're dead. And I want you slaves to understand something. You're doing it to yourself, okay? Why? Because you believe you could buy a house with student loan debt and you can't. That's impossible according to the laws of mathematics. You cannot. You can't save for retirement. If you have student loan debt, you cannot have a 401k. You can't have a pension. You can't have a HSA account. You can't. Why? Because you have no money. That's why when you borrow from your 401k, you're borrowing it because it's not your money. Oh man. 150 and 360, 67. Dude know damn well he can't get those payments. Here it is, a 2021 Ram 1500 350 miles, 67. You ain't never getting out of that. That's crazy. Somebody will finance almost a $70,000 vehicle. Oh man, you got to be freaking insane. Oh, guarantee you, he's got an 84-month contract, guaranteed. 84 months, guaranteed. My cousin has successful daycare and student loan debt that I know she ain't paid off because her husband and her got a BMW and a new Mercedes Benz. I got a male cousin the same way. Yep. And they believe their business is successful. They have no idea that their business owns them. They don't own their business. It owns them. Student loans older than their business and their cars, and they think they're doing something. Hey, that's important. Now, if you got family doing this too, which everybody does, everybody has family members doing this same old stupid shit. Just watch them. Just look how they just think they're fitting right in. Oh, look, we're success. Look. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not successful. Wasn't there iced tea and that a vending machine in his crib? No free snacks for the homies. He said no free snacks. That is funny. They're just fooling you, man. Don't fall. They're just no. Listen, when you have people, your friends and family members doing that, listen, they're only tricking other slaves. They don't know. They don't know that they're not tricking you. If you guys are if you're part of SMD family, knowingly or secretly, it doesn't really matter. And you see them showing off on their vacation photos and their new car, and they're taking pictures. Oh, look what I bought my wife, this new Toomey bag and all this other shit. And you know they got student loan debt. They have no idea they're not fooling anybody except other slaves. That's it. That's it. You know, when they show off, when they say, hey, look, I bought this brand new shoes. They cost $4,000. You got student loan debt? Yeah, they financed some shoes. You think it really cost $3,000 to make those $3,000 or $4,000 to make those red bottoms? It didn't. It didn't cost any. The paint, I promise you, the paint and the shoe did not cost $5,000. Know why they don't care? Because they financed it. Somebody said, you know what? This is what somebody did. Man, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna paint the bottom of shoes red. And then I'm gonna just market the fuck out of it and say, like, if you got red bottoms, this is some kind of symbol status or something. And people and slaves just fall for it. They just go for it. Hey, Star, yeah, can I pay you some millions of dollars just to wear these red bottoms so you can say they're whatever they? Okay, cool. It's just Hey, it's just business. It's just business. Yeah, Toomey luggage. I don't know if that's how you spell it. I'm just saying. The reason why I bring the Toomey luggage up, because I remember one time when I was in the debt matrix, right? Oh no, this is my last year of work when I was debt free, right? We had this we had the CEO at this particular job I was working at, right? And I remember he was the brand new CEO or something like that. So he comes up in front of, we had a meeting in the lunchroom, and he's up on the little stage that they built for him to talk on. Hey, welcome to so and so. He's like, hey, I'm glad I'm here. This is a wonderful place to be. Blah, you know, the whole spiel or whatever they're talking about, right? And he's like, man, when they gave me a call and said I had the job, man, I was like, yeah. And then me and my wife, we packed up our Toomey luggage, and then we got on a plane and we got here fast. And as he's telling the story, I was like, okay, wait a minute. Okay, what? Okay, first when he said Toomey luggage, I was like, what the fuck is Toomey? You know, I was like, what is that? I've never heard of. And also I thought to myself, why is he telling me the name of his luggage? Because when I go around and I say, hey man, grab my luggage, I don't say grab my Samsonite luggage. I just say grab my blue luggage, right? But he says my Toomey luggage. I'm like, well, okay, what's Toomey? So I Google it, and it's very expensive luggage that you can buy, right? I was like, oh, gotcha. That's for you to impress the slaves. So the slaves that do know what Toomey luggage is, they hear him say it. They say, oh, he must got money. Oh, I get why you said that. Okay. And then he kept doing more and more. And one time he got to his shoes and he mentioned there was some black alligator skin, some bullshit, right? And I was like, oh, okay, that must be expensive because you're telling us. And I was like, okay, all right. So you're impressing the slaves because you ain't impressing me. Because I have no idea how you bought that Toomey luggage. I don't give a fuck what position you're in here at the company. That means absolutely nothing to me. Then all of a sudden he came in driving in the parking lot with a brand new what's that Volvo? This Volvo, don't get me wrong, this particular model of Volvo is a 4-door. It's really nice, though. I ain't gonna lie. He came driving in a lot with it, and everybody's like, ooh, man, he's got the new blockety block. It's like, that's to impress you slaves, okay? If he's making payments, who gives a shit what he's driving? Yeah, Stephen, I had never heard of Toomey luggage until he said it that day, pulled out my phone and Googled it, and I was like, oh, that's why he said it. Okay, got it. All right. I think the shit is funny. All right. I'm on a time limit here. I got to go. I appreciate you guys all. My time limit's up. I wasn't watching the clock. You guys have a wonderful day, evening, whatever. All right, later.